Guys, listening to your podcast tonight, I totally agree with most of everything you've said. I, however, am a huge fan of Kevin Owens. What do you think? How do you think WWE should book him going further into the future towards Survivor Series? What is the best they can do with him to further his career along as an established champion? So, Matt, if we were booking towards Survivor Series, what do we do with him? I mean, if I had it my way, I probably would forget the whole Seth Rollins thing for now. And I'd pick another opponent and I'd have him going over clean. Those things would be the most important. Anything really to that, Matt, for you?
Well, if I had free reign and I wanted to improve the Kevin Owens character, I wouldn't be looking to split Jericho and Owens up. I'd be looking to put the tag team titles on them, I think, myself.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Into that position, because that hasn't been done for quite a long time, where someone was a heavyweight champion and tag team champion, and I think Jericho and Owens have that sort of chemistry, and I think if things hadn't panned out the way they did, we might have got a bit more from that.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, I can definitely see that working as well. That'd be a great idea. And mainly the important thing to get Kevin Owens over more is to just have him, backing up what he says and giving him free reign on that mic a little bit more, but letting him be himself, because he's so good at doing that. I feel like they haven't done the best with it, because they've sort of had him hiding behind things a lot. I don't want to see that character, because that is not Kevin Owens for me at all. So I want to see Kevin Owens as the Kevin Owens that came from NXT, who's got a chip on his shoulder. Yes, he's more arrogant than he should be, but at the same time, he can back it up in the ring. That's very important. We just don't like his attitude. I think that works better than what we're seeing at the moment. And I love the chemistry between him and Chris Jericho. I'm glad they've kept up with that. Let's just hope they don't, ruin that too fast. But also, one of the biggest things I want cleared up is the whole Triple H thing. I want that cleared up straight away. Tonight, in fact, to be honest with you. So thank you for your question there. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, Matt. Obviously, Raw tonight, everybody. Any feelings going into tonight's Raw, Matt, that you think we may see?
Oh, well, I think it's a little bit too obvious what we're going to see, isn't it? We're going to see more of, Charlotte saying she's the best, she beat two people, whatever. As usual, New Day probably get their spot, But that will be the interesting thing. Who will be the New Day's new opponents? That's the only thing I'm thinking of now. I'm thinking, will it be Anderson and Gallows? Will they try and work for another match, or will there be a bit of a surprise? I think that might be where it lies. But I think the thing that's going to get on everyone's nerves is Roman's going to come out with a stupid grin on his face.
That's the guarantee, isn't it, for tonight? That one. That is the absolute guarantee. That we will see that, unfortunately, and that's going to be our next week's questions. I'm quite sure about that. I do want to say, since we've been recording, I have had some sources. I've been going around on websites, and it's been confirmed, Matt. Now, whether they're going to be on the show is a completely other thing. Just because they're there doesn't mean they're going to come out. But apparently, sources say that Luke Harper is backstage tonight, and also a big one here, Paige, is also there tonight. Whether they use the talent is another thing, but I would say I'd be over the moon if they used Paige tonight with Bayley. Quite frankly, I think that would be amazing, and let's end the thing with her and Sasha for a while, because that's starting to get a little bit old for me at the moment. But that would be a great call for me. So if that's the case, that would be quite exciting, nonetheless. Matt, obviously we've keyed up 2 pay-per-views this month. A lot of wrestling, no doubt about it. Next month, the same thing. How are you dealing with the amount of pay-per-views we're getting as a fan? Quite frankly,
well, I can't get enough wrestling. I do enjoy wrestling, but I do have to say that a pay-per-view every 2 weeks, it does kind of, like, if you're still reeling from the last one, you still kind of get over, like, what happened, especially if something shocking happened, and then they're throwing another one at you, and it's like something completely different storylines, and you're kind of like, oh, you're the same company, but you're bombarding me with, like, stuff now. And I used to like the months build-up, because it would be a slow burner, but now it feels like everything's happening at a rapid pace.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you there. To be fair, I think you're right. I think that there's so much. I mean, like I said before, are we going to get sick of the of wrestling by the end of this? Because it could always do that. Sometimes too much is never a good thing. I think everyone's, you've always got to remember that. As much as we think that we all can't get enough of wrestling at times, and I'm totally with Matt there. I can't, but sometimes you think in WWE terms, like you're trying to sell things as big and as brash as possible, but then the importance of things gets kind of like shoved down because we're having so much of so much, so it doesn't always have that effect that you want going forward. Matt, I don't know if you've seen much of TNA, but we're going into Bound of Glory. I've had a lot of emails. I think we're going to talk about it on the podcast in the next upcoming weeks. Your thoughts of what we've got? I was looking at the match listings. Is there anything that stands out that you think will be a decent viewing at Bound for Glory?
Well, I'm kind of enjoying the new title they're bringing in with the kind of rounds to it and the point scoring and all of that. That's going to be Drew Galloway against what used to be Damien Sandow, but now he's Rex.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I think that would be good. I mean, obviously seeing Drew Galloway in his new kind of persona as the heel, I think it should be pretty good. And I'd like to see who they choose to carry that title forwards. Also, I think as we were talking about earlier, the stuff with Matt Hardy should be quite entertaining, because the people he's facing, they're also doing something quite different, aren't they? Decay, I think.
Yeah. I saw those guys doing that stuff. Yeah,
got a nice little gimmick going on, a nice little group, and I think they gel together quite well. And I think they bounce well off of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, it just gives me doing. Next week, as we key out on this one, next week we have King of the Ring. The retrospective series is back, and we're going back to 1998, just getting in the thick of the attitude somewhat there. We're going to go back to that one. We're going to give the full review. You can join us, go along with us on that one on our journey, and not only that, Matt, we are giving away 2 for the price of 1. Just like the network does currently on the monthly basis, but we're going to do it on a weekly basis because we're also going to have, by popular demand from everyone, as I said, it went down well, we're going to have a Wrestling Arts. We're going to have the 2nd episode of that where you can also join us again. We're going to do a couple of matches on that one. It's going to be about an hour show. But join us for that as well. So something a little bit different for the week after. But we hope you join us for that because, of course, we're getting to the end of the year now, Matt, and we need to finish our King of the Rings up, so to speak. And obviously, after the 98, we're down to, what is that, 4 left, I believe? Is that 4 or 3? I can't remember now. Something around that. Yeah, without a doubt. So thank you very much, Matt, for coming on this one to review last night's pay-per-view, Clash of Champions. As always, thank you.
Oh yeah, pay-per-views are always particularly pleasing to rate you.
Thankfully, yes. Otherwise, we definitely wouldn't be doing them. Thank you, everybody who participated in this episode, sending in all your questions. Thank you for the tremendous feedback that we got last week. It's great to see that we're definitely spreading the word of what we're doing, and you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. For sure. So we'll be back next week. Don't forget 2 episodes. One, we'll have the King of the Ring dropping on the Monday, and we'll have the Wrestling Arts episode on the Tuesday. Until then, folks, have a great week.